Hi, would you be willing to say your first names and a little bit about your time of service and your area of service, branch of service, that sort of thing, please?
My name is Michael Brewer. I served in the United States Marine Corps, the 7th Marines, 1968-69, Quang Nam Province, south of Da Nang, in Vietnam.
Hi, my name is Warren, and I served in the U.S. Army for 22 years, 1983 to 2005. And I served in Bosnia during the peacemaking operation in Bosnia, 94. And in Iraq, I was in Baghdad in 2004.
Would you gentlemen say a few words about what drew you to this experience?
Well, for myself, years of depth work through VA programs, outreach programs that were offered, a round of pilot programs that were created for veterans with post-traumatic stress, and I'm the beneficiary of one, and it only felt right to go share it with others. It doesn't do any good to just hang on to all that stuff in your own bucket. It's got to be shared somewhere, or it's not of the same value. Plus, they want you to.
And I was actually invited to the first iteration of this retreat, I guess 3 years ago, by one of the people who were first organizing it. He knew I was a veteran, and he knew that I was dealing with some issues. And he said, this might be a good experience for you. So I came to the first one, and I found it really very beneficial for me. So I'm back. I'm a repeat offender. I'm back again.
In what ways would you say it was beneficial? And here it would be helpful for us to hear about anything that you feel is unique about this experience. How's it different than other retreats, other forms of treatment?
Well, I haven't done other kind of retreats before. Other than this, the only treatment I've had was when I got back from Iraq. I had some counseling for some mild PTSD issues, which I thought was effective. Okay, I'm past that now. It's no big deal, and but I had mentioned it a couple of times, and so when I was invited to this retreat, I came out to this and got a chance to talk about it in a way that I had not before. In counseling, it was me and the counselor one-on-one, and the counselor was a civilian who had not been in war, had worked with soldiers dealing with PTSD, but had not been there. And I didn't feel like I could talk to her in the same way. I didn't feel like she got it. So coming here and being in a group of veterans of various wars, not just Iraq, but also in previous wars, and being able to talk about that and find out how much shared experience there is, I think really helped me a lot. And then talking with the civilians that were part of it, and knowing that they are often dealing with the same sort of issues. PTSD is not limited to the military. It's not limited to combat. And remembering that, I'm not alone, that there were a lot of other people dealing with the same kind of issues, I think really helped me readjust to where I had not fully before.
How about for you, Mike? How would you say that this experience is similar and different from some of the other healing that you've done?
Well, I'll answer that secondly. What brought me here is that I met the founders and originators of this program, this curriculum, at a Edward Tick training. I think he actually offered continuing education for some people in Joshua Tree. And in many respects, this is just a continuation of that meeting and that encounter. For myself, this month is the 19th anniversary of being on a retreat circuit with peer counseling that the VA trained us in. Some of our county Veterans Affairs people had grants that trained some veterans in resiliency training. And again, it's intended to be taken forth into into the fire, as they say, of returning veterans. Some of us didn't think that we'd be at war for another 16 years. So our training, I guess, just continues. It's like when they won't let you out of the Army or something, that they're just not going to let you retire. The distinction, the critical distinction of this curriculum that attracted me is the combination of the civilian population, the balance of inviting civilians to hear the stories that many have been suffering with in keeping to themselves for 30 and 40 years. Because as Warren would say, and many of the other veterans here, we know what's going on with each other, and we have for years. Whether it's the VFW or American Legion, those stories become redundant, and Ken Burns opened the lid to have all of America know what's going on with the war. And this is actually in the vanguard, I think, of workshop retreats. I haven't ever participated in one where there's this level of civilians involved. And that's the release part, or the split, as the retreat directors here are called, the split between the armed forces, the veterans, and the rest of America. To have family and friends and acquaintances and new acquaintances know what's going on is it's a gestalt, as the therapists say. It's a completion. Finally, finally, I don't have to carry that, as the term's used in the retreat, I don't have to carry that story in my rucksack and feel obliged to share it with everybody that doesn't know, or share it with people that aren't interested in knowing, which results in anger. And here, it's an open environment where there's virtually no anger, and people are listening, so the sharing has a fullness to it that generally can't happen in any other place in our whole dominant culture. It would be wonderful when Grandpa here turns 90 to be in a coffee shop and hearing the civilians talk about the retreat they went to with the veterans.
That would feel like, to put it in the words of the tenets of the retreat, that the civilians had taken responsibility, really claimed their responsibility as participants in the military experience. Mm-hmm. Is that another way of saying that?
Someday the two of us will overhear somebody talking about a workshop retreat they went to, and that could be turned into a commercial, you know, like you see all the veteran stuff now. The veterans sitting over there, go buy them a cup of coffee. Yeah, that could be a commercial. The veterans are sitting in a booth at Denny's, and they overhear the people behind them talking about the retreat they went to with veterans. That would be called Arrived.
That would be Arrived. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're taking that as a visual of something for us to strive for, but this retreat was a step toward that. That's what you're saying to us? That was a step toward that.
Yes. One of the things that bothers me in life is when a civilian learns that I was in the military and says, just instantly without thinking, says, "Oh, well, thank you for your service." And I never really know how to reply to that, because I know that they don't understand what my service was. They don't know what they're thinking before. So coming to this retreat and meeting with the civilians who were here, they know, they get it now. And so when one of them says, "Thank you for your service," I know it comes from the heart, and I know that they get it, and they truly are thankful, because they understand that they had a role in the fact that I was deployed. And I wish that spirit would spread to the rest of the nation, so that the civilians would understand that, yes, they do have a certain responsibility for what I did and what I went through in my combat deployment. So it's a start. We've got a few more civilians now that totally understand it, and to me that is just huge. I just hope that can just grow all across the country.
Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing.